All right, guys. So Jim Acosta of the failing CNN News Network went off on Tucker Carlson in the GOP over Afghan refugees. Now, he went off on a couple things. One was first the suggestion that, hey, maybe we should be vetting these Afghan refugees that have come over here, or at the very least, we need to make sure that we're doing rigorous vetting, right? And maybe, just maybe, we should ask some questions about who are the people that are coming into this country, okay? And for whatever reason, again, Jim Acosta thinks that this is some type of grave sin, that you can't ask questions related to national security in regards to who the hell is coming in this country, right? So he had a problem with that. And he also had a problem with Tucker Carlson essentially suggesting that the Democrats may take advantage of these Afghan refugees politically, right? They may try to use them as a political tool to gain votes. And apparently, this pissed Jim Acosta off so much that he went to call Tucker Carlson a human manure spreader. Take a look.
Leading figures on the far right have been sounding the alarm on Afghanistan evacuees all week. The refugees are coming. The refugees are coming.
Former intel that are telling me people that are being brought in here, there is a significant percentage that are future Boston Marathon bombers because they're not doing adequate vetting.
Over on Fox, human manure spreader Tucker Carlson has floated yet another race-baiting conspiracy theory that tens of thousands of Afghan refugees are being welcomed into this country in order to change the outcome of future elections.
Many of whom will now be moved into neighborhoods around the United States and stay permanently. They didn't seem to encounter any problems in doing this. Thanks to meticulous and thoughtful planning, Operation Change America Forever came off precisely according to plan. It worked flawlessly.
Did he say Operation Change America Forever? I think change is already in the air. We had an insurrection nearly 8 months ago. An insurrection that, let's face it, hasn't really ended.
All right, guys. So I kind of got a lot to say there, right? Let me address a few points here, right? I'm gonna address the first point about the whole Afghan refugee thing, right? And vetting, and if they are a security threat, right? I think, again, to me, it blows my mind how those on the left think that it is xenophobic or racist to suggest that we should thoroughly vet people who come into this country, right? Just because you go out here and you say, hey, listen, we took a lot of people from Afghanistan and we took them out pretty fast. Now, there are reports that we've left behind a lot of people who are actually supposed to be on those planes, right? That are actually supposed to be leaving that country, right? People that were allies for us, interpreters, people that had special visas or was in the process of getting these special visas. A lot of those people were left in Afghanistan. So we took 120,000 people, but we left a lot of people that we were supposed to be taking. So who the hell did we take? Right? Who the hell did we take? Because me personally, I'm not one of these people that's naive enough not to think that, maybe Biden was just evacuating a lot of people just to say he was evacuating a lot of people. Because, again, we have reports of allies and Americans and interpreters and people who were supposed to be on those planes still being in Afghanistan. So I got to ask the question of, well, who got on those planes? Who do we take? Who do we actually take? Because this whole process was rushed, right? This all happened at one time, so you know there was going to be some mistakes. So with that being said, why would you not suggest that these Afghan refugees should be vetted? It has nothing to do with race, right? If we took in a bunch of refugees from Europe, if those people were white, I would have the same questions, right? I would advocate for the same thing. So it has nothing to do with race. It purely has to do with national security. And yes, I know that these Afghan refugees are technically being vetted. Yes, I know we have thousands of them in U.S. military bases in the Middle East and Europe where we are supposed to be vetting them. Yes, I know that. But my question really comes down to, how thoroughly are we vetting these people, right? How thoroughly are we going through the process? Are we doing the process right and correctly? Who did we actually take, right? who is actually coming to this country? Do we really, really know? And again, this is the same thing when it comes to the southern border, right? And immigration from South America. It's the same exact thing. Nobody's saying you can't come, right? Nobody's saying that. Matter of fact, again, you have a lot of military folks talking about how we should get our allies out of Afghanistan, how they should come to America. So again, nobody's saying they can't come, just like nobody's saying that people from South America can't come, right? But what we're saying is they have to come here legally. We have to know who we're getting, who we're taking into this country. That's what we're saying. But according to Jim Acosta, he can't understand the nuance of that. The nuance of that is over his head because, you know, the liberal media, they're ready to move on from the disaster that happened in Afghanistan, right? They're ready to start attacking people like Tucker Carlson and the GOP again. Okay, and speaking of Tucker Carlson again, Jim Acosta called him a human manure spreader, right? Basically saying that Tucker Carlson is talking a whole lot of BS, okay? A whole lot of BS, right? And he's saying that Tucker Carlson is BSing about how, you know, there may or may not be an agenda in regards to the Democrat Party bringing over a lot of Afghanistan refugees and potentially trying to use them for political reasons, right? Similar to what I believe is happening when it comes to the southern border, right? The Democrats are incentivized to let people into this country, okay, and then to try to use them as political tools, try to appeal to them as a way to get votes and to keep power, okay? Because I understand that the Democrats love using racial identity politics. So is it really unreasonable for Tucker Carlson to hypothesize that maybe, just maybe, the Democrats might try to take advantage of these Afghan refugees politically? I don't think so. Because the Democrats actually have a history of doing that, right? The Democrats have a history of using race to appeal to a certain segment of our population, right? The Democrats have a history of being soft on immigration and then turning around and advocating for things like amnesty and a path to citizenship, while also, again, at the same time having open borders and then trying to appeal to the Latino and Hispanic community in order to get votes. This is a whole game plan from the Democrat Party that is out in the open. Everybody knows that's what they do. The Hispanic community knows that's what they do. But for whatever reason, people like Jim Acosta acting like, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy, right? It's not a conspiracy. And it's not unreasonable to at least question, okay, will the Democrats try to use these Afghan refugees for political purposes, right? Will they try to make them a part of their voter base? Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised given the history of the Democrats in terms of how they operate. Wouldn't be surprised. But you know what's funny about Jim Acosta and people like him in the mainstream media? They love trying to accuse right-wingers of being conspiracy theorists, but then he goes into a conspiracy, right? Which revolves around January 6th. This conspiracy that the right, like mainstream Republicans, Trump, all got together and organized January 6th, right? They organized a takeover of the country, okay? When the FBI has come out and said, nah, that's not what happened, right? Trump didn't really have anything to do with it. No, these other people didn't really have anything to do with it. But yet they're still pushing this rhetoric as if there's some imminent right-wing takeover that's coming in this country. Matter of fact, you heard what he said. He said the insurrection is still going on. It's still happening, right? This is what this man is saying, okay? But see, people like Jim Acosta, they want people to think that. But yet they go after people like Tucker Carlson and say, well, he's just pushing fear. He's pushing fear on Americans. And you turn around and you do the exact same thing. You do the exact same thing. You fear-mongering about January 6th for the last 8 to 9 months. And it's been over, right? But yet you're still doing it because that's all you have. You have nothing else. You have nothing else. Trump's out of office. They can't really talk about him that much anymore, right? GOP has basically, for the most part, been in chill mode. They've actually shut up for once, right? Avoided media criticism. Biden has been a disaster on the economy. He's been a disaster at the southern border. He's been a disaster in Afghanistan. He's just been a disaster in general for this country. Mainstream media has rightfully went after him, right, for once, only because he went against the establishment, but they still went after him, right? So you got to give them a little bit of credit. Now that that's over and done with, oh, January 6th, back to January 6th, right? Business as usual for the liberal media. But it just shows you how desperate they are, guys. They don't have anything. They have nothing. They have to keep talking about this event. Like, again, it's over. It's done with. We've moved past it. But they want to let it linger and linger and linger so that we don't worry about real issues in this country like, I don't know, inflation, right? Like the southern border. All the things that they were trying to distract us from this whole time. All of Biden's failures that they were trying to distract us from, they're right back to it after the Afghanistan thing, right? They're right back to it. The same old narrative. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.